Well, it won't be long before municipal elections start taking place in Alberta and Quebec this fall. So how important is it to have Christian candidates running in every municipality in our nation? Well, today's guest has a goal to see this take place. We are joined in studio today by Michael Clark. He's the executive director of the Christian Impact Network. You might remember Michael as a pro-life candidate entering the federal Liberal Party leadership race just recently against Mark Carney. But he fell just short of getting enough nomination papers signed before the deadline. He joins us now in studio. Michael, welcome. Great to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first of all, can you maybe explain what your organization is about?
Sure. We're a group of subject matter experts that are trying to actively shape culture in Canada through politics, law, education across the country.
Okay. I find it interesting that you would choose to run in the Liberal leadership race. So why the Liberal Party of all parties, Michael? What resonates with you about the Liberal Party?
Sure. So what happened was a group of Christians, it was a short race for the nomination for the Liberal Party.
It sure was. Yeah.
So a group of Christians came to me a week before the deadline and said, we've raised the money, but we don't have a candidate. Would you like to run? They said the winner gets to become the Prime Minister in about 6 weeks.
Oh boy.
So I thought about it for about 1 second and thought, I'll do it. As Canada's political missionary, it's the perfect, that would be a great job to have as the Prime Minister. So it really wasn't as much about, the values or something of the Liberal Party, but we wanted to overhaul and change some of the things that we don't like about the current system.
Yeah. So Michael, if you had been elected, then how would you have seen that dynamic working in a party that's so, I guess, pro-choice? Because as I mentioned, you're very pro-life. How does that work in that party?
Well, I think that when you are the leader of a party, you have a lot of power to make decisions. We saw one of the former Liberal leaders, they said that there won't be any pro-life candidates allowed in the Liberal Party. So I obviously would invite them back. And I think that the Liberal Party should, historically they had some good years, maybe 100 years ago, and they should be a kind of a center party that has some of the benefits that maybe the left has and the right.
Yeah,
and
I would say even more recently than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, even during the Pierre Elliott Trudeau days, they were more centric, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think it's gone as Pierre has said, they're a bunch of wackos now. They went crazy, and I feel like they need to come back to some kind of common sense, and I think put the Lord first in all their decisions.
Interesting. Okay, so what would our cities look like then, Michael, if municipal councils were filled with people that were more like you, more like-minded, faith-based, that type of thing?
Yeah, I think that as we see in newspapers, there seems to have been a digression over decades of morality. We've turned away from the Lord. We've removed him from everything, it seems like. And there's just been we see every day just things that, you guys are reporting, other people are reporting that are unacceptable. So I think that if Christians were to come back to the table and help shape the laws that govern humanity, I think we'd see less of all the problems that we see every day. So in the municipal, it's mayors, city councilors, and school board trustees.
Okay.
But we need to, as a whole, federally, provincially, and municipally, as the church, as God's righteousness on the earth, we need to align the laws to biblical principles, and Western civilization was built on that. I have non-Christian friends that even say, you guys helped shape Western civilization as a whole. So I think we would return to good times.
Interesting. Okay, so Michael, you are holding meetings across the province with some well-known speakers with political experience. Tell us about that.
Sure. So in 2022 in Ontario, where I'm from, I started a website. I didn't think anyone would join, but I wanted to recruit Christians to run for mayor, councillor, and school board trustee. So what happened was 110 of them signed up, and then people started to sign up from other parts of the country. 17 of them got elected, And then I thought, well, maybe I can do this behind other elections too. So that brings us to Alberta right now, and we're doing the Alberta Christian Municipal Rally in 12 different cities across Alberta to basically to recruit Christians to run, to seek the Lord on what does He want for Alberta. That's the real question, and encourage Christians to get involved. And I at one point in my life was, I could say, a Christian couch potato, where I was really good at whining about all the things I didn't like. So I think I'm speaking to all of them.
Yeah.
Hey guys, get involved and help shape the province and
You
the
were one of those people that
municipalities.
yelled at the newspapers and yelled at
Oh, yeah.
and yelled at the news. I think there's a lot of them out there.
And I actually didn't even vote for about 15 years because I thought, well, I was like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Like, what's the point? Why bother? It's too corrupt. It's too hard. And sometimes you hear Christians shouldn't even be involved in politics. So
You do hear that.
So my heart just changed. I had a conviction to stop being like that, stop whining, and participate.
Awesome. So you just held a rally here in Lethbridge on Thursday, and how did that go?
It was amazing. We had multiple candidates come out. We had some elected officials come out. We're getting support from Christian MPs in Alberta, from multiple Christian MLAs, and dozens of elected and want to be elected municipal candidates. So we've done 3 so far. We did Westlock a few days ago, and then we did Red Deer and Lethbridge last night, and I couldn't be happier. It's going very well.
Okay. And then you're in Medicine Hat this evening, right?
That's right.
July 11th. And when and where is that taking place?
There's a church called Heights Baptist Church
Okay.
in Medicine Hat, and the fellowship starts at 6 p.m. and networking, and then 6:30 the event starts tonight.
Okay. And then you're also holding rallies in Calgary, Edmonton, where else? Alder Flats?
Alder Flats, Ponoka, Grand Prairie. There's a couple stops in Edmonton, and then Calgary, I think, will be a big one this Saturday.
Yeah. Looks like you're also in Lloydminster,
Lloydminster,
Drayton Valley.
that's
You're just
right.
hitting all the places. You're all over the province.
And we only booked a one-way ticket, so if there's
Okay.
other churches or cities that would like to see this happen, we're happy to come to other cities in Alberta.
To extend the stay. So what are things looking like so far, Michael?
In regards of like,
Well, will there be Christian candidates in most municipalities in Alberta? What are you thinking?
I hope so. So what we find when we do this is we identify the ones that are already elected, that are already maybe mayors and city councilors and school board trustees, and then we recruit people that maybe haven't even thought about it. They never saw themselves as a politician, but what we're seeing is, an average soccer mom is saying in a rural area might say, well, I'm not a politician, but someone needs to do something about the books in the kids' library or something. So one of the things that helps with this is it creates a fellowship of Christian politicians. So those that join in Alberta, they will not only get connected with every other Christian politician in Alberta, but also across the whole country into our fellowship. So it's very exciting.
If there are viewers out there that are thinking about running for a position, should they maybe be emailing you for advice on how to run a
Absolutely.
campaign?
Yeah, you don't have to 100% be a candidate to join up with us. There's a lot of people thinking about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people would like to talk to maybe a Christian campaign manager or even an MP or an MLA. A lot of people are interested, but they don't really know where to even, it sounds scary, right? Become a politician.
Sure.
But yeah, they can email us at info@christianimpactnetwork.com, and we can walk with them and help them. There across the country, we have hundreds of people in our network that want to help Christians through this process.
Oh, that's awesome to know. So a big part of running a successful campaign, of course, is networking, as you would know. So people getting their friends on board, getting door knockers going, all the stuff, right? Placing signs, making phone calls, and of course, financial support. There's a lot that goes into this, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think that in the culture that we live in today in our country, when a Christian who's going to stand on biblical principles sticks their neck out and does put their name forward, the church as a whole should really get around those people, and there should be thousands. I think every church in a community should get together and help get people with our values into elected positions.
Yeah. What do you say to people who maybe ask, will their vote actually make a difference?
Yeah, well, I believe it is incumbent on us as Christians to help shape society. We're not to just be an ostrich, and we're not to just spend all, just focus on our four walls of our church and our nice Christian families. God really calls us through the Great Commission to impact all of society and everyone around us. So I think voting, and here's the other thing, we complain downstream of something we don't like in the newspaper. But we had a way that we could, get people with our values in so that we can change the future of newspapers. So I think voting, participating in a Christian's campaign across the country is a start. I think it's an easy start to vote. It's an easy start to do a little work to find out who is running in your area, and that's what we're trying to bring to people. Who are the Christians running? And then maybe grab the church and help them support them better.
And do you think a few Christian politicians here and there can actually make a difference?
Absolutely. The Bible is full of examples of one man or woman that made a difference. Whether that's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were kind of politicians in Nebuchadnezzar's day, and they said, no, we're not going to do this evil thing. And 4,000-ish years later, we're still talking about it. So, there's multiple times where one person, Joshua and Caleb, two guys came back with a good report from the city, and we're still talking about them. So absolutely, one person can make a difference. And the thing is, in our system, every elected position is sort of like a mini king. So if you are a mayor, you make big decisions. Federal doesn't make every decision. If you're a school board trustee, you get to decide what happens. And what's happening is, often a Christian gets elected, and they might be outnumbered 5-1 on a school board.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to support them and try to get those numbers up. When votes can be like 5-4, that one elected person can make a huge difference on the future.
Tell us about your program to train up youth
Sure.
to run for office later in life. That's
Sure.
kind of cool.
So after the Ontario municipal election, I realized, I was like, Lord, I think we need like 10,000 Christians to get involved in running, and then we need 10,000 Christians to support them as campaign managers. And then I also realized, what do you do if you're in the NHL and you're in last place? You go to the draft, and you go to the juniors and you draft. Well, I don't see a very developed junior leagues of Christianity. I know we send our youth to youth groups and summer camp. That's great. But what about my daughter, for example? She's 15, and she watches Question Period in the House of Commons for fun and
Wow.
cheers. And there's kids like that all through our youth groups. We need to identify them, get around them as the church, as with leaders, and then systematically develop them and disciple them to become maybe the next MP of Lethbridge, or a mayor of Charlottetown, PEI, or a school board trustee in Manitoba. So that's the point of it, is we're going to collect Christian youth. We have dozens of organizations that are helping, that are subject matter experts, to create Christian politicians, Christian lawyers, Christian journalists, and general advocacy. And then we can help them get into the business of it.
Well, your 15-year-old sounds like a smart cookie. I think most 15-year-olds aren't worried about what's happening in the House of Commons. So kudos to you there.
Thank you.
But we're out of time here. So Michael, thanks so much for being with us today. Appreciate having you in studio with us. Michael Clark is the Executive Director of the Christian Impact Network. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks so much for watching.